Hey, look, menu pog.
When you play League of Legends, you know how you have to press Q, W, E, R. Do you use 3 fingers or 4 fingers?
Hey, yo, I use 4. Who used 3? Hey, whoever used 3, y'all weirdos. No cap.
Well, I guess I'm a weirdo, but someone who isn't a weirdo is Mammoth.
It's true. Kitty is very much a weirdo. We all know it here. You guys all know it as well. And four fingers, man. That's nuts. Now, look, we got to get into the discussion of this next game. You guys want to see it so damn bad. It's Pentanet. It's Order. Let's just jump straight into the discussion. Pentanet first. Max, talk to me. What's been going wrong with them? Because on paper, they're a star-studded lineup here.
Yeah, I don't know. Coming in, we definitely thought this was a team, essentially a super team, right? Having Balkan come back in with Yuri joining, this mid-jungle duo was essentially pegged as one of the best, if not the best, in the region. I think they've been having issues sort of clicking together as a unit. You know, we've seen Balkan sort of leading out front by himself,
yeah,
and the team not really following as well.
I feel like, yeah, you've definitely hit the nail on the head there. Skimmy, talk to me. What do you think's going on? Like Rogue, since he started to have a bit more impact down in that support role, I feel like that's definitely helped a lot too, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes you've got a lot of strong personalities on a team, lots of different ideas of how to play the game optimally, maybe from different regions you've spent your career over in, but especially when language barriers come in, right? You're relying on ping systems, broken English, a lot of just trust that the right play will be made. And I think we've seen it a few times, right, where one guy's got an idea, somebody else has got an idea, and a bit of split decision making. But I think overall, like, we have seen that they've got very solid foundations.
Yeah.
It's just going to be about hitting it at the right time. And you know, I'd imagine they're going to be feeling pretty confident that playoffs is there, right? Best of threes, best of fives, all the rest to look forward to. But now it's all about just refining and improving.
Yeah, refining is definitely what they need to do. Now, speaking of refinement, I'm looking at a bit of inconsistency for Order as well. We need to talk about them, so let's bring up the roster, see if it's, yes, all across the board, exactly what you're expecting. Now, Max, you're a man that has been on Order before, so I'm interested in your insight into what has been working, what hasn't been working here for them.
Yeah, so I think Order is they're actually quite a formulaic team, right? I think they have a very strong mid-jungle duo, and they sort of dictate the pace of the game. I think the games we've seen them be the most challenged are the ones where, you know, Kevi and Kisei aren't able to get ahead, or they're against a mid-jungle duo that is able to be more proactive early and get stuff rolling. And I think that holistically, Order haven't been able to play from behind and sort of save the situations as well as some other teams, and that's what's cost them a lot of these losses.
Now, I specifically want you to tell me about Biopanther, because he's in the role that you were playing last year. Do you think he's doing the job, or do you think he could... he needs to sort of shift his playstyle? Because even on Pentanet, it seemed like he had a lot more impact in last year's Pentanet games. And this year, he's doing his job, but it feels like he's always sort of playing that weak side, right?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that is just down to how the team functions and the team dynamic, right? When you are playing with players like, you know, like Puma, Kevi, and Kisei, right? They're all really carry-oriented players. So it is good to have that stability up in the top lane. I think, to speak to your point, Mac, a bit about that impact, I think top lane changes have affected the way these team players play a lot more.
Yeah.
Like, Biopanther was known for being that player who's going to get a 8-minute TP and just triple kill your bot lane and jungler on a gank, right?
Yeah.
So I think that having the TP move to 14 minutes has a big effect.
And that is like the main thing. I do remember a whole lot of TP players coming out of Bio last year. He was the first one to be hitting it, going straight down and helping Praedyth and the boys down out bot. Now, let's talk about Kevi. So, look, him and Balkan, head to head, they have a lot of impact in both these teams. They can both be that carry that is needed from time to time. Is Kevi going to be sort of the crux of Pentanet here, or is Balkan just going to be unstoppable against him?
That's a good question. Right now, both of their KPs are the highest in the entire league. We've obviously known that Balkan's been in the high 80s all split long, which is just incredible. He's just retained his aggression that he showcased all the way back in 2019 in the OPL. But his champion pool, right, sometimes you'd argue it's very solo QS because he's just looking to try and farm up kills, get in your face, do, you know, pre-level 6 ganks, whereas Kevi, I feel like Kevi's getting frustrated at times, right? Because he's wanted to play the meta champions to fulfill a role, but at other times it almost feels like he's crying out, saying, "I'd love to just sneak in one of those pocket picks." And I do wonder how he's going to approach this game, because I feel like last time there was a big difference in sort of the impact being felt. You saw it from one of those clips. Volkan jumps in as the J4, just solos out Puma. Kevi jumps in. I'm the Diana. It is my Moonfall, but where's the follow-up? So they've both got similar goals in mind of looking to try and set things up, but it's just frustration at times.
Well, both players most picked is, of course, that Diana as well. And we heard from Kevi that, you know, he sometimes likes to play it, but a lot of the time wants to go to something probably more comfortable on. Do you think we're going to see some sort of pocket picks come out today, Max, from both these players, or are they just going to go with the meta again?
I think with these junglers, you can never say definitively that they're not going to pick something crazy. I mean, Kevi was known last year for having those random breakout Evelyn games where he's just running the map, killing everyone. Right, same with Kane. So I think we definitely could see a deviation from the meta, particularly, you know, if that's their strategy coming into this game, right? If you say, okay, well, Volkan, you're really good on these aggressive junglers, but if I'm playing something like the Evelyn, something like the Kane that can just kill your side lanes on repeat, it doesn't matter. You can engage however much you want on mid. I'm just going to farm your top lane on repeat.
Well, speaking of top laners getting farmed, are we going to have one getting farmed or doing the farming? Well, Kitty is about to find out.
Hello, I've grabbed the one that has definitely been farming those wins. So let's grab Winterer for the interview. So Winterer, first question, do you like blue Kane players? Okay, Kevi.
I don't like jungle players in general, so no. Everyone's so toxic, including my jungler right now.
Fair enough. I actually do think jungle players are the most toxic, especially in solo queue, but let's talk about your current standings. So PG are currently third, only one win above Order. Who do you think is the strongest player on Order coming into today's game?
I think Puma is the best player in Order right now. He doesn't throw the games, he carries game when he gets resource. Yeah.
Do you carry games when you get resources?
Hell yeah. All the time.
Oh yeah, well, you've mentioned before that you're also a really good translator, especially for the Koreans and the bottom lane. Do you feel the need to actually step up as a shot caller because you have the best of both worlds and can easily communicate with anyone?
Well, when they say something, I just say that one more time loudly so everyone can understand, and it's helping a lot as a team.
Reiterate the point, you know, I do see that in those Pentacom videos you guys get quite loud, so you have to yell very loudly as well. Well, hopefully you guys do some more, well, hopefully it doesn't hurt your throats, but more yelling on the Rift tonight, and best of luck against Order.
Hopefully, yeah. Adios.
Adios, amigos. Now, look, that brings us that one step closer to the game, so let's talk predictions. And this is where I think it's going to get spicy, because these games tonight, it looks like we're probably going to have like a 2-2 split, maybe a 3-1 if we're unlucky, and I don't know if we're going to get a, you know, complete everyone on the same page, but let's have a look. So me and Max are going for Order. Now, I just want to preface this with, I feel like Order are the underdogs going into this just because of what I've seen from Pentanet. It's just both these teams are so inconsistent. Like, when they play their good games, they're playing their good games. But when they're not playing their good games, you can tell, right? It's just one of those things. So, Max, tell me, why have you gone for Order?
So I picked Order because the last time these two teams played, I think Order drafted themselves into a bit of a hole. I didn't like their draft at all. I think it got outscaled really easily by Pentanet, and Pentanet just had a 10 times easier game than Order. I think the main point of strength for Order in this game is the bot lane.
Yeah.
I think Praedyth and Rogue have looked very shaky and extremely inconsistent. I think, like, there's a meme about Praedyth getting caught out on mid-waves, but it's not like a meme anymore. It just happens in a lot of the games, right? So I think Order, Puma, like Winterer just said it in his interview, he's a very stable player. He doesn't throw the games away. So I think if Puma is able to get a lead down in this bot lane, he's going to be able to carry the game.
Okay, well, look, yesterday was the day that Praedyth didn't get caught out at mid, and I think he got the MVP for it. So, you know, big congrats to him there. Let's see if he can back it up twice. Kitty, why are you going for Pentanet?
I think it's just going to be a battle of the junglers. We've seen what Balkan can do when he gets that early lead. Same with Kevi.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the mid-jungle 2v2. Whoever gets the easier early game, it has to depend on their draft, because they're both very hard carry junglers. But like Max was saying, Puma's been really, really performing in his recent games, and Praetor's been just a little having a bit of fun. Hopefully he washed his hands before the game, but you know, best of luck to Praetor, and yeah.
Let's see if he's washed his hands and also what champ he's playing, because Champ Select is ready. It's Order up against Pentanet. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it indeed, Max. It's going to be a big one because both of these teams will be looking to try and secure themselves as the best of the rest, right? It feels like a bit of a weird saying already so early on, but it has been a two-horse race, right, with Chiefs and Peace at the top of the table, but these two teams hot on their heels.
And trying to get into upper bracket, Skimmy, that's the most important thing, I think, for these teams is, you know, securing yourself that extra, I guess, buffer of not being eliminated straight away if you lose in the playoffs. So having that extra separation from the rest of the pack is going to be really key heading into those later weeks.
Certainly is. I do like the Rise ban right at the gates here from the side of Order, right? Limit the impact that Yuri can provide. I feel like this is a really good week for Order as a whole, right? You've just taken on Peace, you now take it on PGG, both quite keen to play the Rise. Also very keen for those early game rotations, and a lot of early game pressure, which we've been critical at times of how Order handle and absorb. So let's see what they do this time around. Zeri has been left up and available, so Puma's going to for sure snatch that one up, but that was the other pick. Hotly contested also was the Diana.
Yeah, I think Diana is the most played for both of these junglers, right? So having that extra bit of comfort is always going to help in these high pressure games. I think it also... Oh!
Yes! Finally!
It's a Kevi Evelyn. Oh, it's going to be a good day today.
We've got our wish. Look, we were asking, surely, deviate away from the meta. Was this going to be a game won by the junglers? Well, that's a good indication already.
Yeah, so this is really smart from Order here. I really like what they've done, because when you pick the Diana as PGG, you are sort of wanting to pair it with that Yasuo, but what Order have done is been like, okay, we'll pick the Renekton. It can go either top or mid, right? So it's just going to follow the Yasuo, and Yasuo has a really, really hard time into Renekton. Renekton having that shield breaker and just having the tankiness to sort of tank Yasuo and just beat him in a straight 1v1 makes the lane really hard. So I think Order have been like, they've put their foot down, they're saying you're not getting this Yasuo. And I mean, seeing Kevi's Evelyn, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a treat, really, isn't it? It's only gets a chance to be played every so often. I do ask the question, though, with Order getting that Renekton and sort of laying down a law, like, we dare you to pick Yasuo, I wonder if they'll even look to ban it or just give PGG that option and say, well, if you want to try and take it, you've got to do something absolutely crazy to make it work. Yeah, it is sort of, you're trying to call each other's bluff, right? It's like, PGG are like, well, will it really be that rough if we pick Yasuo? And Order are sort of being like, by not banning it, they're just trying to like ego PGG into picking it, and hopefully they'll slip up there. But I think the bans coming out, Malphite ban is definitely really good. It makes Aphelios' life really, really hard playing against that Malphite. He essentially always has to flash his ult in a team fight, or else he's going to get one shot. But other things I want to look for Order in the draft is, you know, getting another AD solo laner, so Kevi can be the solo AP on his team.
Yeah, last time we saw Pentanet lock in the Aatrox to try and be a bit of a lane bully. Went into a Rumble last time up against Winter. They have banned two top laners, so no Jace, no Gnar. We saw Bio play that last night as well. What will PGG go for in response? Hovering at Graves right now. Have seen a few variations on the Graves, be it playing with combat summoners, playing with TP, going for shield bow, going even for Gore Drinker in some occasions. So a lot of flexibility in a safe top laner.
Yeah, it's just a really good blind, right? Like, there's not too many answers that absolutely hard stop it, especially when you are building the Hull Breaker into that shield bow or Gore Drink, as you talked about. But here we go, it's the Trendemir. So Order doubling down on these double AD solo laners, and you don't know where they're going, right? It could be Renekton mid, it could be Renekton top, same with Trendemir. So I think it makes PGG have a really hard time on their fifth pick, because you're not really sure who you're going to be playing against.
Yeah, very good question, right? You're giving that as an open invitation to say, what are you locking in here? PGG is your fifth and final pick, because we've got lane options, we've got situations that present themselves to cause you headaches. Corporal is going to lock in that Rakan. It's what he played last time, if you remember. They played the Rakan Senna, and he looked to try and catch Yuri out in the mid lane, but ultimately got punished and one tap by that Rise. Not the occasion today, as Rogue has got the Leona to try and show Corporal that he can play just a fraction better, but it's going to go down to the wire, and it's going to be an Aatrox? Is this confirmed? It is. Okay.
Interesting. So Aatrox traditionally has quite a hard time into the Trendemir, so you'd be expecting that they're going to put this top to try to match that Renekton, because against Trendemir, if Trendemir gets some lucky crits in lane, gets a nice chunk, he has a very easy time just running him down in the lane. So we're going to see essentially both sides have double AD solo laners with the solo AP jungler.
Yeah.
And it's going to really be down to, you know, how much impact is Kevi going to have on his Evelyn and how much impact is Belkan going to have on this Diana.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head, right? The fact that we've hyped up both of these junglers having the most kill participation has been the biggest impact to try and get these teams ahead in the early stage of the game. The fact that they are your sole sources of AP, you just feel like whoever wins that war of attrition, that 1v1, is going to say, boys, we're winning the 5v5 now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one point I also wanted to highlight was Diana actually has a bit of a rough time this game against Orders Comp, right? Because as Diana, you want to be getting that E ultimate onto the squishies, but there's only Zeri, right? And Zeri, if she's building, you know, the Titanic Hydra Black Cleaver build, she's going to be quite tanky herself, and then you're against a Renekton and a Trendemir, right? So all of these champions, if you jump on them, they can just jump back on you and throw it down. So I think in terms of the trade for AP jungler, I actually favor the Evelyn in this scenario.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think there's a lot of protection and peeling, right? The fact that you got, you know, the mocking shout from the side of the Trendemir, the fact that the Rakan can look to try and jump in and, you know, be it the quickness, the grand entrance, whatever it may be, to look to try and peel and protect and, you know, give them much needed time to establish how they want those fights to go. I feel like you sort of know what you're going to get from PGG. They're going to run at you, so you're just going to draft options that invite that pressure, but then flip it on its head.
Yeah, and honestly, this is just a completely deviation from the norm that we see on Summoner's Rift, right? The way Evelyn plays a game just completely flips the script. It's so much more about vision. It's so much more about having pinks in the right place. Because as we talked about before, Skimmy, right? Evelyn can just run top at a random time and kill someone, right? Even if she just runs through the lane, if the towers are down, she's just going to be unseen. So I think watching how Kevi is going to be able to create, you know, these sort of creative gang paths that you wouldn't be able to have on other champions is going to be a key to their success.
Certainly will be. Every one of those champions that definitely makes you really test your league knowledge, your gameplay, your game sense, and your vision control. Let's welcome back the rest of the team onto the panel because, yes, we do have another remake. Lobbies are bugged today. It's a little bit of fun, but that's okay because we've got beautiful people on the desk to talk to.
Look, if you really want, I can get another tongue twister up. Kitty, are you keen to do a tongue twister?
If it fills the time, yes, I will do it for the content.
I think that's the point of it. So this is a classic, all right? This is a classic. Have a look in the old Discord. It's one that everyone loves. There's not this time, no. So you'll keep your job, Max. If you want to start first.
Alrighty, let's go. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would chuck wood as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Oh, perfect.
Seamless.
How about, look, I reckon Skimmy's going to smack that one, so I'm going to give him...
Oh, no.
This one. Beautiful. I got bloody tongue twisters for days.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't Fuzzy Wuzzy. Can you hear? Can you... Oh, can you can a can as a can a can a can?
Oh, that was two different ones. I'm sorry. I definitely didn't send just one. But Kitty, you can do that second one as well if you want.
That threw me off.
Well, I'm looking at the count. Does that even make sense in like a grammatically correct? But let's do the fuzzy.
It does.
I'll do the Fuzzy Wuzzy because I love Fuzzy Wuzzy and Nuzzle Uwu. But Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy. Was he? Oh, they're pretty clean.
That was nice. That was nice. What about this one? The Skimmy, I reckon this could get you 3 times.
Okay, which wristwatches are Swiss? Which wristwatches? Which wristwatches are Swiss? Wrist watches. Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. You've broken me.
All right, Kitty, you actually nailed everyone so far. So have a crack at that 3 times.
Oh, W's are like my ultimate count. I don't know why I cannot pronounce it for the life of me, but which
Go.
Well,
Do I try
took
again?
me to another dimension.
That's like
have
expert
another
level.
crack.
We've just gone up a whole notch.
That's too hard. That's too hard. I can't do it.
Max, come on, save the day.
Alrighty. Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches?
Oh,
Smurfing.
nasty. Beautiful.
Smurfing.
I've done this Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch one so many times. I think it's just a implicit memory in my brain. I don't have to think.
That's pretty good. Now, I don't want to run out of them, so we're going to move on and actually talk about the game. I hope everyone enjoyed that. We finally defeated Skimmy. I thought he was undefeatable, as well as Kitty. Like, after the last one, I was like, all right, okay, it's all right.
Happens.
And, look, Max nailed this one, didn't nail the last one. So, look, 1 from 2 for everyone. Congratulations. Or what we did a lot of them, so ain't that something. Now, all right, let's talk games. So, we've got Kevlin to play today. Now, I'm very excited. I'm glad we had that little discussion because last time we saw Kevi play Evelyn was some point last year, right? And he's pretty cracked with it, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it was getting target banned versus Kevi in a lot of the games last split, and it's
Yeah.
just because I think it's something teams don't really know how to prepare against. Because as a champion that you don't see a lot in scrims, unless you're playing against someone who plays Evelyn, you're not going to see it, right? So I think it's just such a different way of playing the game that teams would rather just be like, we're going to just play the game standard, you know, remove that sort of variation, and picking it just completely flips the script. So having Kevi with all this experience on Evelyn is going to be a really big benefit to the side of Order.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Anything interesting you want to touch on, Kitty? We haven't spoken about champs yet.
Obviously, Kevlin is making its way back into the LCO, but from both drafts, I actually really like both drafts. Both teams have good initiation with like point-and-click CCs, I believe, because Leona Q counts and Reckoning Stun counts as well. So really easy setups for those ganks, especially for Kevi, because he is playing the Evelyn. You do need those laners that can provide the utility, but I think Evelyn's biggest weakness, and everyone knows, is the pre-6. So I'm expecting PG to actually fasten up the tempo for the game, to actually put Kevi more behind instead of him being able to scale into the late game and get those stealths.
I've got a really fun Mac.
Love fun facts.
Yeah, so it's been 8 months since Kevi's actually played a competitive game of Evelyn. Do you know what's also super interesting? That game, Maximize was playing, he was playing Karma top.
Oh no, it was too. It was like the first. That was literally the first game of Split 2, right?
Yeah.
It was versus Mammoth.
Day one.
No, that was, yeah.
So it's almost like we've gone
again.
full circle, and it's just it's poetic.
Look, now talk about this to me, Max, because there was a long time when you were really trying to get the play of the game, play of the day, and you're like, today's the day, I'm going to get MVP.
I remember that.
Then you just went downhill. So, you know, and now you're out of the team for the moment. So what went down after that?
My coaches kept picking me enchanters, and I slowly lost my mind more and more until I didn't want to play anymore. So that's why I'm here.
Was that Calvin? That was Calvin last year, yeah?
Yeah, Calvin and Omen.
Ooh, so you've said a few words to him since then. Just let me play the Lee Sin. I want to play the Lee Sin. Give it to me. Now, look, so going into this, I haven't had a huge chat with you about Corporal yet. Are you enjoying Corporal coming back to Oz and playing in this lineup?
I definitely think he's been a really, really strong engaged player. I think his Leona has been like absolutely spectacular. He's had some really pop-off performances, and I think when you are playing with Puma, that makes them a really strong bot lane, right? I would say that they're top 2 bot lanes in the league right now. I think up there with Cheon and Beats. So I think as a point of strength for Order and a point of consistency more so than anything, because they're not the bot lane that's going to be like feast or famine, right? They're going to be very consistent, very high floor performers, and I think that's what you need on a roster like this that has so much volatility in the mid jungle.
Okay, now let's talk bot lanes. So we're looking at the champs, we're looking at what they've picked here. Who's just straight winning the laning phase off the back of having the better champ synergy?
It's hard to go. It's really hard to look past Praetor and Aphelios, right? Because like every time he locks that champion in, you know something's going to happen, right? He could just go 0-4 in lane, much like Raze did yesterday, but he's going to find a way. He's always going to find a way to claw that one back. So I think we've always been praising how good Order's bot lane have been in terms of finding laning advantages. It's just been at times not able to try and translate that into later stages. I've said that like a broken record multiple times, but I feel like you look at Praetor, he's always going to go for the KDA demolishing, right, of his own occasion. I don't care what my stats look like as long as I can make the big plays when required. So it's a tough one. It's a tough call. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and look, Yuri, Kisei as well. Let's talk mid. Kitty, who's going to be gapping today?
I saw what Kisei picked. It was Renekton, or even the Trinity could be Flex, but can someone remind me what PG picked for their mid laner?
They had Graves mid, I think.
Graves
either Graves
mid?
or Aatrox mid.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming
I don't know too. Who knows?
It's most likely going to be Graves mid. Wait, it's... Oh, wait, it's PG playing, I thought it would be Kisei, because I know Kisei sometimes plays Aatrox, so I was like, oh, you know, but most likely going to be a Graves mid. I wonder if he actually defaults to the Hullbreaker build, because we see that really popular item in Compet right now, but because you are in the middle of the lane, you can't actually avoid your teammates unless you get banished to a side lane. So I wonder if he's going to go with the more traditional build, where you go the Eclipse into the red colored theme build, but yeah, we'll see what Bree has in store for us.
Okay, well look, I heard that we're not too far away, so I've got one more beautiful, classic tongue twister for us all to do.
More. Here we go.
And it is, she sells seashells by the seashore. Down the line, Skimmy, you next.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Beautiful. Max, you got to do it 3 times.
Wow, there
Thank
we
you,
go.
production. Cheers, guys. Appreciate
Nice
that one.
work.
Yeah, Max,
She
yours.
sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore.
Nice. Nailed it. Little whoosh in there. Oh, but production loved it. Kitty, how about you?
I have bad memory. Seashells. Wait, no. She shells seashells by the seashore.
Yep.
I think. Do I
That's
do
the
it 3 times?
Do it 3 times. One.
Oh no. What? Why did I get it?
Production's like, nah.
Wow. Bias production. Wow.
I'm just gonna read it off the Discord. She sells by the seashore. I give up.
She sells
already-
seashells by the seashore. That's what you need. You just chuck that one out there real quickly.
And Rusty actually wants another one in here, which is she sells shoeies by the seashore. I feel like that's a pretty Aussie one. You know, we could make that work.
You could.
Okay. So, look, we don't have too much time left, and I'm very glad that some people, alongside myself, got conquered by the wristwatches. But look,
Yes.
it's about time to get back into game. I'm thinking I want to see, knowing that Evelyn has to be shut down, I'm wanting to see Volkan just going for some absolutely crazy invades. I want some action. I want some like level 3 ganks going on all over the damn rift. Oh, and boys, it's time. Savers, take us in to game 2.
Thank you. Yes, we are going to be saved here by Champ Slick, confirming what those rosters look like, what the lane setups look like. It is going to be that Graves mid. Going to be going into a Tryndamere. Big question though, will Hullbreaker be coming out? A champion with so many options for the itemization. Who knows?
And Kitty raised a really good point, I think. Both Tryndamere and Graves are champions that do want to build the Hullbreaker traditionally. It just makes a lot of sense with their kids, you know, giving them a bit more tankiness. But when you are in mid, you're so close to your team for the majority of the time, you're not actually going to be getting those stats effectively. The main issue I see with Graves not going the Hullbreaker this game is he becomes a really easy target for Kevi to one-shot, right? If he is going that Eclipse build, if he is just going the lethality route and not getting that HP or magic resist, Kevi's going to have a really fun time just running in, one-comboing him in a lot of fights.
So he can, and certainly will, as we load into this one with the outright battle between 3rd and 4th at this stage. They're going to try and keep themselves in that top 4 contention. Order doing battle with PGG, and to give us some insight from the side of that is the coach of PGG with Udisoff.
Hello, boys. How you doing?
Doing very well. Pleasure to have you on the show as always. I have to ask you, as a bit of a jungle main yourself, you're looking at both these two as having the highest kill participation in the entire league. So how do you see this one going?
Well, Kevi's picked Evelyn. Evelyn goes invisible. There's going to be an invisible performance from Kevi today. My boys are going to stomp his head in-game.
I knew you were going to do something spicy like that one. Hey, give us a quick insight into sort of some of the draft limitations here, right? Because we are looking at them being the sole AP. So is it as volatile as you'd imagine that if, you know, one falls behind, the game is pretty much wrapped up?
Yeah, that could happen, but Volkan's not going to fall behind, so it's fine.
It's easy. It's easy. Well, I love your work, as always, there, Udisoff, and Mushy boys are as confident as you state.
Oh, we're very confident. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure hearing from some legends of the Oceanic region.
And that's just the confidence you want to have as a coach, right? Like, if your team you're in draft with your team before the game, and you're hearing a coach say stuff like that, like, you're inspired. You're going to go into this game and you're going to take names.
You're hyped. Absolutely. Well, we're loading into this one, and we're ready to rock and roll, and we can check in with what's looking like a already rather aggressive trading pattern in the bot lane between both AD carries. Both junglers, no doubt, going to be looking to try and rush to level 6 as quickly as possible. In goes Rogue, level 2 Xenoblade, a classic play by Corporal. A great health trade.
Yeah, just not respecting the level 2 there from the side of Order. One other thing I want to draw people's attention to is the level 1 that happened. Someone brought it up on the broadcast. Before Evelyn gets level 6, she's essentially a really useless champion in skirmishes, right? She needs that invisibility. She needs that ultimate to be able to get out of so many sticky situations. So PGG capitalizing on that fact, going for the late invader onto the red buff, and just making sure that Evelyn's going to only have access to, I guess, one buff. And even her Raptor's got the Knight as well, so it's definitely not the start you'd be wanting as this Evelyn.
Seeing not a happy time for him, but he is going to walk down towards the bottom lane. Going to get spotted by the lane ward, actually the river ward rather. Now, it should be free. Rogue is literally just going to staunch him out of lane, saying, you wouldn't step up, you wouldn't make a play. We got a Diana working its way towards us. There's going to be the Glacial Orb coming out from the Zenith Blade, laying on top of Kevi. He's in touch trouble, level 3. He needs protection. There's the flash away, but Yuri! He's got the shotgun and puts him down.
Yeah, you'd have to say it seems like a bit of frustration coming out there for Kevi, you know, not being able to get those early camps, trying to look for the play bot lane, but no one had prio, right? Kisei was shoved under his turret, and Order bot lane weren't able to move first to the play, so he just gets picked off. And having flashes down, it makes her life really hard as the Evelyn.
Great start here for Pentanet then, right? Going into this matchup, knowing sort of what that pocket pick is all about. We saw a whole host last year. There was obviously a big contest between himself and Swaif as to who could try and get that one in play. As it stands right now, Balkan's got the advantage. He's got level 4, he's got double buffs. He's forced to flash away towards the enemy mid-tier 1. His Korean import mid laner is there to back him up. We go back to bot lane where members are low.
And this is exactly what we wanted to see this game, right? The fighting has started from essentially minute 1. No crab is going uncontested, and as we see Balkan here forget another invade onto Kevi. Kevi gonna pick that one up though, not too much worry. So I think it's all this early game now is all about stabilization for Order. You know, you're down summoners, you're down a bit of XP and CS for your jungler. You're just trying to make sure you don't fall too far behind and just make sure you're going into the mid game on as even footing as possible.
Certainly, and that's always been a concern for us, right? Looking to try and get to that point in the game where you can be on that even footing. We are seeing a big advantage already being picked up from that level 1 play, but we're looking towards this bot lane now. That seems to be the next area, really, where the game could certainly explode, where jungle impact could be felt, and Order could look to try and claw things back.
Absolutely, and the flash is down on Leona, so you know if she botches and engage, there's definitely potential there for Order to turn around and get the kill. But likewise, you're looking at both flashes being burnt for the Order bot lane, right? So whoever visits there, either jungler really, is going to have quite a nice time, I guess, being able to pull off a gank without the worry of them flashing away.
Nice little roam here from Rogue. Scouting out some information, keeping tabs as to where Kevi is. Going to drop himself a control wall. Plenty of vision towards that respawning blue buff. Fire's going to give Kevi a helping hand, but that's an early roam that has been spotted out. That has given him ample info.
It is, PGG have been tracking Kevi really, really nicely in this early game, and that's sort of what you have to do as the team playing against the Evelyn. If you just let the Evelyn, you know, sort of get to level 6 without too much of a hassle and get to work, she's obviously going to be a really overpowered champion. But PGD doing a great job here, you know, utilizing the support windows where like Leona doesn't have to go to bot lane straight away, so she can just run top, place that pink ward, make sure Kevi's whereabouts are known at almost every point in the game.
First objective of the game going to be started up here by Pentanet. They're going to go for the first Drake, and Inferno 1 at just that. Vision going to go down here from the side of Order. They are posturing aggressively to come for this one. Smite range is getting very close as Rogue jumps in once again. Will the Smite come out? Yes, it will. Secured by Pentanet. Balkan gets that. Fight's going to break out, and it's going to be Order to try and force a bit of a pinch coming from both top and bot. They're unable to find the kill that they're after. And PGG can't chase them down.
Yeah, that was a bit of a questionable fight from the side of Order. I don't think you really want to be taking that fight. You know, Aphelios has the red, white, don't fight combo. Obviously, PGG having priority in the Dragon, and Evelyn's walking in there with no flash, right? No flash, no ultimate. It becomes very risky as the Evelyn. If you get engaged on by anything, really, you don't really have any tools to get out of there. So I think that was more just like Kevi trying to see if he could get a cheeky smite steal off if PGG weren't paying attention. But as for now, PGG are looking to further invade Kevi and get his blue buff here.
Sounds like they weren't messing around from their coaching interview, right? They wanted to make sure that not only is he invisible literally in the game, but his presence will be that as well. That's the vision, that's the control, that's the early roam of level 3 Leona paying off on time. There's your blue buff, and that is ours. That's going to help Yuri out a whole ton to keep up with the resource management in that mid lane.
Yeah, and having a look top lane, I mean, this lane is just pretty boring, to be honest. These champions both just want to, you know, farm, trade waves, and then come into team fights and be these big raid bosses that these champions can be at that 1-2 item spike. So I don't think we'll be seeing too much action up there unless we see the junglers come in. But Kevi and Corporal linking together, trying to get some vision. Kevi will just base, and he should get level 6 off his topside camps here.
That's going to be huge. Go invisible, and then you got that all-important ultimate, the last caress. It's so strong. I mean, the execution, obviously, first and foremost, but then the dash away afterwards. We've seen so many creative plays, right? You know, steals off Barons across the wall and invades that have looked impossible, but that has been sort of the magic moment.
Yeah, so this Herald pickup's really nice from PGG. Essentially, they just want to keep accelerating the tempo of the game, and being able to pick this up, get a guaranteed, you know, 2 plates, maybe even pressure a tower is a really good way to just make sure you're staying ahead. As Balcon's getting a bit frisky here.
Certainly is. He's gone in for an invade, and he's certainly not looking to try and back down anytime soon. PGG will have a numbers advantage, make it a 3v2, but proactive, good comms. Order going to back away.
Look at Yuri just ghosting in. He pops the ghost, runs over the wall, sees Kevi's out, and heads back to mid lane.
He's going to do that. He doesn't care. Like, I mean, we've seen how many times these games, right? If the mid lane is boring, he's just pushing and roaming.
You got to get your excitement somewhere on the Rift, right?
Certainly do. Certainly do. And things have tamed down a little bit here in the bot lane, right? I imagine we're really now waiting for those level 6 to come online for the supports, because both of those are huge, huge in terms of playmaking.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a potential for either sort of AD carry here to just get one shot if they miss position when the enemy supports level 6. You know, Puma has the cleanse, so he can always cleanse the Leona ult, but for Praedyth, if Rakan, you know, manages to get the ultimate and the grand entrance onto the Aphelios, he's just going to die if Zeri can pop ult and do some DPS. So we're seeing Kevi hover around, you know, to sort of respect that timing. As Kisei's leaning down too, I'm not sure if this will be just a play to make sure Puma can get the wave in, or if they're actually going to look for something here.
Yeah, will seem unlikely, given that mid and top have just reset from the side of Order, so nothing really to take on the map. Drake is not up for another 90 seconds, and bot wave looks very absent on the side of PGG. Unable to find anything, unable to punish, so a reset, tempo, items, and a reset on the map for them to try and find that next moment.
We do have the dragon spawning in a minute 20, so you would anticipate that from the side of PGG they are wanting to fight that. I mean, as the Diana, you are wanting to fight around these objectives, right? Because if you know, I guess, you're fighting around an objective, Evelyn sort of has to come to you. And there's sort of that uncertainty about, you know, where is she on the map. That gets removed a little bit. So fighting these dragons is really good, as Kisei is getting dangerously low.
Yeah, super low, right? So confident in his own ability, right? He ran the numbers, didn't need to burn the ultimate. Just consuming his rage was enough. He's going to turn him away. Kevi get a flash forward, looking to try and go for the execute, the mid-full turnarounds. Both junglers hitting their ultimates. Oh, so low.
Yeah, I mean, respect to Kisei there. Like, not popping the ult when you're getting Graves ulted. He just absolutely knew and had confidence in how much healing that Trendomir Q was going to give him. But Kevi blowing both ult and flash 30 seconds before the dragon spawns is really big, right? There's almost no way that Order can contest, because Kevi is really squishy, really vulnerable without either his ult or his flash. And Balkan is actually building up quite a sizable CS lead, Skimmy.
He's huge. And I wonder if that's a concern. Almost like an overforce there from Kevi, realizing he's this far ahead of me in CS. They've got a Herald as well. I need to do something.
Yeah, I mean, flashing forward for the cheeky kill, like, respect if it works, but if it doesn't, you're sort of just digging the hole even further, right? As we see PGG here moving down towards the bot side, getting a pressure Order's bot lane off this turret, and Praedyth on his Aphelios is going to be getting more plates.
Yeah, just what you love to see, right, from the Aphelios. We see it time and time again, but also Zeri, worth mentioning, is really good at taking those turrets down as well, right? The ability to stack up the Black Cleaver in one queue, as we've seen time and time again. Also fantastic at shredding plates as well. Now, Balkan has been called out. Lightning Crash comes across, Puma with some uptime. Great Solar Flare and a huge heal smite. Oh, it's been stolen! What a fantastic steal from Puma. That's made it 1-for-1. Surely now Order can look to try and chase on further. He sidestepped everything. Look how much movement speed he has, but fantastic play from Order.
Puma is just a menace on that Zeri. Wow. Finds Corporal with a really nice find onto Balkan, forcing the flash out. And then Puma just hops the wall and cues the dragons, says, thank you very much. We'll take that one.
Look, honestly, if Balkan got away with that one, with how overextended he was to turn around, heal smite claim, it would have been almost MLG, right? It would have been a montage.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like for a second there that we were going to see one of those Zeri moments where Zeri just runs the entire team down with that ridiculous movement speed that she has. But we'll see it once again. So Corporal getting the ultimate, getting the ignite down. Balkan flashing out on a sliver of health, smiting the dragon for HP to make sure he wouldn't die to the ignite. and then Puma just hops over, says thank you very much, and takes a dragon.
18 health. I mean, we've had a day already of it where you know, these major objectives are held in suspension at such low numbers, but the steals are there. Confidence coming out. That's a big play here for the side of Order. They needed that to try and buy some more time, because otherwise it almost feels like a Soul would have made it far too hard to claim.
Absolutely. Any dents in the snowball of PGG here is going to be really impactful. Puma doesn't have cleanse.
Yeah, PG didn't have a numbers advantage though. It's a great trade from them, even in a 2v3.
Yeah, now Puma no sums. This is a lane you definitely want to be ganking as Balkan, right? You know, Rogue has the flash, has access to the ultimate. Without Puma having any ability to sort of cleanse those stun effects, you'd be hoping that PGG are going to be proactive around this timing.
Yeah, support's certainly going to be the difference maker, given that they're the only ones now with those flashes. Both AD carries very vulnerable. But that's going to be another turret going down. And that's going to be the first of the game here for PGG. So mid-controllers there, his vision goes down, working their way towards the top side of the map, waiting for that next Herald up in 10 seconds. And, I mean, the timing's perfect.
Yeah, so one thing I do want to bring attention to in regards to Evelyn specific is mid-towers are really, really important in the game, right? You know, if Order manages to take the mid-turret, Evelyn has that whole extra area where she can go being stealth. I might pause here, though, as it looks like we're going to have some action around the Rift Herald.
Uh-oh, they face check Rogue. Menulog goes across, there's a TP. Moonlight Vigil hits nothing, that's huge. Predator could be in trouble now, having to cycle through to another weapon. Looking to try and find that moment. They hit the flank on the side. Balkan, 2 members on the Moonfall. This is going to be the last Chris. Disengage away. Kevi out of the fight now. Has a flash. Can re-engage in just about 10 seconds. Needs time. Can he find it? No! Puma with a double kill. He's got the lightning crash. He's got the moves. And he's taking down names. They're going to find another. No, Puma survives. How? How has he lived? A flash forward, a claim, and Kevi's back in it.
That's huge. Absolutely, really well executed from the side of Order. You know, Kevi disengaging up towards that top side, and then Kisei buying so much time with the Undying Rage, just refusing to go down, dishing out that damage, and then Puma comes over the top of it with the lightning crash, runs people down.
Huge team fight here. I mean, the Moonlight Vigil missing first of all. There was just no way to really back up Balkan on this flank.
Yeah, so we see Balkan sort of isolated, Kevi getting the ult out, and then Puma is just free to hit, right? He has no pressure on him for this entire fight. He's just using the W, using the Q, and then you can't escape Azeri, right? With all this movement speed, he gets chunked out at the end there, and Kevi picking up the kill with the flash, but still, a really, really important fight for Order. I didn't see you actually got the Herald and all of that. It did go over to PGG, but again, you'd be really happy with that outcome if you are Order.
You certainly would be. I mean, it was a big ADC difference in that fight, right? The fact that they had a positioning advantage that Puma could actually play, whereas you saw Praetor just posturing, saying, well, I can't do much. How do I step up to this one? They'll be happy at least that they did get the Herald, but that has balanced the books. We're all tied up here. Now 26k gold. Yuri has to be careful. But was laying a trap, knowing that he had 2 members to back him up in lane.
Yeah, so the game's... the gold's essentially even right now. And if you are an Order fan, you'd be pretty happy with this, right? Because I think as the fights go on later and later into this game, I think the combination of the Trendemir Renekton being a frontline bully compared to the Aatrox Graves is just going to be really beneficial for Order. So it'll be interesting to see what Kevi can do in the meantime as they look into Praetor.
They pulled the switch. Praetor has no flash. This is great timing from the Mystic. He can just find that kill. But PGG turn around. Oh, look how low they are. Shot a double kill. Bal can't pick it up. He has got it. Now to flank from the side. Once again, Puma. He's going to find a kill. Can he survive with it, though? He's trying to run away. He's untouched again. Zeri against the world. He's, well, he's space gliding, isn't he? He's all walking. He's doing everything he can in a situation where the rest of his team has fallen on down. He's lost vision.
They can run them down here.
Surely they can. Surely they can. Yeah, there it is. There's a shout. Kisei going for it. He still has the Undying Rage. It's active. Looking to try and turn him into onto Yuri. Puma, look at him go. Look at him go. 3-0-5. He's literally full power spike. He's untouchable.
And it's so annoying for PGG to try to fight these because you have all that initial burst coming through, you know, of the collateral damage with the Moonfall, but Kisei can just ult, and if Puma's not getting hit by any of it, he's just going to have a lot of damage on the back end of that fight. Look at that. 5,000 damage in a single team fight. It's just Zeri being able to kite out all this damage and then re-engage once the cooldowns have been blown. That's meaning Order is winning these fights really handedly.
You just look at the engage initially, right? It's Order looking to try and force the fight. They land the ultimates, but then the turnaround, you think this is looking good.
Yeah, so PGG pick up these 2 kills, but you see on the back end, Puma's untouched. Fire Panther buying a lot of time, and as soon as Kisei enters this fight, you have the Undying Rage, you have a full health Trendemir. Yuri can't really do anything to Puma, he's just getting spaced as we see here. And then Puma turns it back around, the World Ender times out, and look at them run them down. It's just clinical.
And I mean, this is only early stages of the game, right? But I'm terrified, Max, once we start getting items online, like the, you know, the Tiamat evolution, like the extra on-hit variations that we have seen out of the Zeri. I mean, it's just going to be cleave damage like you wouldn't believe, and no one's safe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Puma's playing a fantastic game. I mean, we talked at the start about how this was the Kevi Evelyn show, but Puma's really making this game his.
One of the best starts he's had in the series so far this split, no doubt about it. And with a champion that has the agency to try and excel in a draft like this, then certainly really good opportunity for Order to try and pull ahead here and even up the score with PGG. They're going to try and find a nice way to pick onto Rogue. And Leona walks into a jungle and gets punished.
And this is what I was sort of talking about at the start of the day, right? I think Praedyth and Rogue, they have looked a bit inconsistent there. Like, we see Rogue, he's just up the creek without a paddle as even more fighting's happening.
It doesn't stop, Balkan goes in 1v2. He's trying to take down the Zeri all on his own. Oh, there's Praedyth for the flank. Look at that, that's massive. It's a shutdown for Kevi, but finally Praedyth announces himself on the Rift. And they're going to claim so many members. What a huge turnaround.
Praedyth this time being the AD carry who's going to flank. I mean, we see him Gale Force in, get the ultimate down, and getting that kill into Puma is really huge. As Kevi's still around here, I don't think PGG know.
Gone. He's gone. May have just been hoping that those recall timers weren't synced up together. It's not to be the case.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, and we see the difference in how the team fights go, right? If Puma is able to DPS, it goes really well. But this fight, he was only able to get off 1,500 damage, and if he's not being able to, you know, run people down, get those resets with the lightning crash, it's going to be really hard to win a fight.
And let's just look how it all initially starts, right? It feels like Puma has the world to play around, gets brought back in by the Moonfall, unable to really touch much at this stage, but then the fact that, you know, Praedyth on this flank, now he's actually able to emit some damage.
Yeah, it was monstrous, and when it's a battle of the AD carries, I guess, being able to hit, because in the fights where Praedyth is able to make an impact, like we see there, he's now got 2 items, right? He's sitting pretty comfortably in this game for an Aphelios that was previously quite far behind.
Certainly going to be short though, as we have plenty of 2-item spikes. It is going to be Yuri's Graves. It's gone for the Eclipse as well as the Collector. Double Collector, they want to be collecting far more kills. We're only 21 minutes in, but we already have 17 to talk about. And they're going to look for that 18th. They're going to go all the way onto this Rakan, but he's not got one shot. They're actually going to try and turn things around. The Moonfall's there, the last press as well. But it's going to be a shutdown. Kisei died before you can hit the Undying Rage. That's massive for Trendemir. I think PGG want to disengage away from this one. The collateral damage is there. Keep them squishy, keep them low, keep them interested. As Puma wants to try and make it a bit of a 1v4. Forced to disengage.
These fights are just so close, Skimmy. I mean, it's literally a knife's edge. We see the Trendemir, Kisei going in, not popping the ult before he gets killed. I mean, you'd have to think that if he was able to pop the ultimate, he'd at least have forced Praedyth's flash, and then the fight could have gone completely differently. But, you know, these fights are so close and these teams are so close in their ability to execute fights, it just comes down to the slightest mechanical thing.
Great catch initially onto the Rakan. You're thinking, okay, Order can turn this one around. It's looking good in that regard. But the fact that Kisei just, exploded, got one shot. I mean, that difference of an ultimate could have certainly given him the edge.
Yeah, and I actually think the double collectors sort of caught him off guard there, right? Because you had the Aphelios coming in with the Q on the Graviton, and then Yuri coming in as well with a bit of burst damage. So I think maybe the collectors aren't actually the worst build choice here, you know, being able to kill that Trendemir before he has a chance to ult.
Nice edge, as you say. Very, very close game. We're not giving up anytime soon, no. We're back in mid lane, returning to the scene of the crime, ready to do it all over again. Someone to check. Praedyth has flash, but Puma does not. Same could be said in the jungle department as well, as mid lane control will be wrestled for. Now we're going to group up and look for that team fight. Zap goes across from the Zeri. Distant vision gives them ideas.
And it's such a tense Baron dance, right? If you're Order, you don't want to be committing members down towards this dragon, or else PGG is just going to start the Nash. They're on it now. Order do have the blue trinket, so they know. I think PGG will get off, but I don't think they want to be having that straight up 5v5 against Order. But here they go again.
Yeah, starting it up again, aren't they? Order in a spot above her. What do we do? Do we go for mid-tier 1? Do we go for Drake? Would we go for the fight? Rogue jumps in, so the player out. Nice and early. Baron's been picked up by PGG. Moonlight Vigil once again does not hit. Massive move for onto 4 people. Barkhan may have just won in the team fight right there. Look at his damage. Absolutely glowing on 5. But Puma untouched across the wall. Disengage away. Disengage away. He's got the Titanic. He's pumping out Cleave.
That ultimate was filthy skimmy. A 5-man moonfall from Belkan here. I mean, just showing once again that he really is the Diana King in this region. I mean, that was a super impressive fight. I don't think you could have a more menu pog moment if you tried.
He finds a way, doesn't he? He always finds a way. And what was a very tough draft for him to try and navigate into, he's just pulled a rabbit out of the hat. That's a huge swing of tempo. Now actually giving us a little bit of daylight in this gold overall. They get the Baron, they get the fight, they get the Drake as well, and tied up 2-2.
Yeah, so I think this Baron, it's obviously really big for PGG. Enables him to get that push and place that vision deeper in the quadrant. As we watch this fight one more time, we can see Kevi gets stunned up before he can actually enter the pit and try to smite. And Belkan, oh my lord.
It doesn't get better than that. I mean, honestly, as a jungler, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, and I hate to point it out, but Kisei died without pressing ultimate again. So in fights that are going to be as close as these, you have to be 100% on the ball. If you're dropping a death without popping your ult, the fight's going to be really, really hard for your team.
Side lanes neglected once more. We're all in the mid lane, hedging our bets on a single Baron-inspired cannon, waiting for the next menu wave to come on through. Looking to utilize this next minute remaining on the Baron for ultimate success. Now they're going to peel away. Now they're going to look to try and tend to those side lanes.
I mean, one of the issues Order has when dealing with the Baron is their wave clear. As we see Kevi onto Belkan.
Here we go, the jungle showdown, goodbye. Woo! No Zonias this time.
And that's just a solo kill. That's Kevi just saying, hey, you're trash talking my Evelyn, you're picking my Diana away, but come on, we all know who's on top here. PGG don't really seem too phased by that. They're going to head straight down in the mid lane and pick up this tier 2.
Certainly are. Look how far Kevi trekked into the enemy side jungle. I mean, on their portion of the map, he's working towards enemy walls. PGG aren't going to mind though. Yes, you've taken down one. We're just going to push. You're going to take a turret down bot side. Kisei continues to go for it. They've taken mid. They've taken top. Well, they're going for the fight. That is the question. Yuri's hunting. He's locking him down. He's
and this is
keeping him humble.
This is one of the issues for Order's comp as this game does go later. It's the lack of wave clear, right? Like, Zeri is not a very good AD carry at clearing those waves until she has, that Runan's Hurricane. So, PGG, especially when they have Baron, they can just shove waves, and then who do you really have clearing waves? Like, is it a Renekton queue? I think we just saw there a comp gap in that it's just very easy for PGG to siege turrets.
It certainly is. I mean, you can just see it from the way they're posturing, even if they are down those numbers. They're knowing what their strengths are, what Order's response could be. And they have read them to a T. Total Gold, as you can see so far, it is led by those top 3. It is all about PGG right now. They're double AD threats. They've certainly been putting in a lot of work. They are the Collector duo. And one of them's going to face check. Pulls to flash away, Edge of Night procced. How much is that mitigated? As the Solar Flare goes out, but only a slow no stun. Hex Flash actually gets cancelled. The fight breaks out, however, PGG still looking for that 3v2. As the World Breaker is committed. Not going to connect.
And I love seeing both teams still being so proactive looking for plays, right? Like, neither team is willing to just kill over and die. They're looking for really creative plays, like camping a bush there, as Rogue is getting chunked out of mid lane, but that should be all it is. Order having a window to take down this mid lane turret.
Finally, the mid-tier 1 drops, opens up a whole world of opportunities now for Kevi to try and accelerate his ideas of attack. Flanking opportunities, no doubt about it.
And look at his build, Skimmy. He's gone for the death cap second. Having the 9 seals on the Dark Seal, the 9 stacks rather on the Dark Seal, he actually has quite a lot of flat AP. And if you look at the side of PGG, there's not too much magic resist coming through.
Yeah.
There's none on Belkan, there's none on Praedyth, and those are the targets that you're trying to trying to one-shot here, so he should be having quite a good time.
So if you want those raw stats from your sole AP carry, then that's going to give it to you. One shot harder, that seems to be the question. We're back to mid lane. 30 seconds for the 5th Drake off this game. Both teams sitting on a potential soul point. The charm goes out into Winter. In they go. Corporal with a 2-man grand entrance. You're in the flank. Kevi's already found that kill. Winter is dead. In jumps Balkan. He couldn't do it. He couldn't hit it. He's gone golden, but he's going to go down. And now they're going to run away with the team fight. Order have found a double kill on this Evelyn. They're going to look to try and find their first ace off this game. A slice and a dice and a stun to your head. You can go golden, but you can just disengage away. Nowhere is safe on this map. They're going to find 4.
And that's the fight we wanted to see from Order there. Kisei getting into the backline, popping that ultimate, having a really nice combo with the Rakan and the Evelyn as Praedyth.
It's an ace.
Yeah. I mean, that is just a textbook fight there from Order. Puma, I don't know, I've sung his praises a lot this game already, but I'm going to do it once again. Look at his positioning in this team fight, just not getting hit by anything, always kiting and spacing at the perfect time. Even when Balkan engages, it's not really a threat. He's just able to dance around this fight. I mean, look at how fast he is.
Yeah, completely outplayed, right? Disjointed, the fact that Balkan's jumping in on his own, and wasn't able to do much. Locked in place like that. Order find the moment, find the opportunity, and they punish with conviction. That's huge now, brings the goal right back to where it was, all tied again at the 30-minute mark. The after effects are they pick up another dragon, working their way towards that soul point, once again checking in with that total gold, and it still continues to be, as much as we've been putting a big focus on these junglers, the battle of the AD carries.
Yeah, but you can't help thinking that in this stage in the game, it's just so much harder for Praedyth to play the game than it is for Puma, right? I mean, you look at the sheer tankiness of these champions, Puma having, you know, the Titanic Hydra, building towards that death stance. He just has so much flat HP and mobility, right, that he's able to get out of a lot of sticky situations, whereas Praedyth, if he gets caught by a Rakana, if he gets caught, you know, with a Trinity on top of him, he's going to have a really hard time disengaging. So I think unless PGG are going for it, then...
Yeah, they are going to go for it. 2-man Moonfall just gone. No Zonias, can't even hit it. Battle of the CC, it's too strong so far. Biopaper on the flank, keeping him honest, keeping him keen. Praedyth going to find that kill, removes that Kisei again. Once again, no Undying Rage is used. The CC layering is fantastic. He's got the white and the green, he's hit the Moonlight Vigil, he's got the range from afar, he's going to get collapsed upon. A fantastic charm from Kevi, wipes the floor with him, giving him a double kill, giving him a triple kill actually. The only one in the game with double digits, back-to-back aces.
And it is absolutely the Kevi and Puma show this game. I mean, these two have been playing all these fights essentially near perfect. I thought that fight was winning for PGG after I thought he got those 2 kills, but no, Kevi flashing in, getting the charm, and then Puma. Is there ever a time where he is not in the perfect position? I don't think we've seen a single fight where he hasn't been doing absolutely everything he can to win them.
From start to finish, phenomenal performance from this series. Really would have to be his best game to date. This early on into a season, you saw from that team fight, it was all about the Puma and the Kevi show. What a fight once again, let's watch it back.
Yeah, I mean, so you see here, Praedyth actually manages to pick up the 2 kills onto Corporal. He actually collects him here with a cheeky crit. But look at Puma, right? He's full HP, he's kiting them here, and Kevi flashing forward, getting the charm onto Aphelios, and then once that happens, I mean, it's just done and dusted from there.
It's too much. It is too much. And to consider how Kevi's game started off, the fact that he was bullied, he was so far behind in CS, right down 40. Made a bit of a risky heroes play in the mid lane to try and force something before that Drake was about to come up. To find himself now 10-2 with a 1k shutdown, phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it just speaks to him as a player, right? Kevi is always that pillar that you can rely on in the jungle to have a consistent game, and it's been more than consistent this game. It's been absolutely stellar. Always finding these engages and one-shots at the start of the fight. As Praedyth here,
he's gone.
Oh my lord.
There's nothing you can do. There is literally nothing you can do. Neither can Balkan as he jumps in and once again, unable to go golden. And now we go back to the Zeri show. It is all about double kills. It is all about 10 digits. 10 is the magic number. Triple kill fan for the Zeri. They don't look for another ace. Of course, Puma will run him down. You can't go back to your base. It's a quadra.
And Skimmy, that's just going to be game. I mean, this is just a textbook game on this area. Look at that KDA. 12-1-12, and same for Kevi, 11-3-12. I mean, when you look at Kevi and Puma as these carry players heading into the game, they've absolutely delivered on that front.
They certainly have. 33 minutes in, finally, Order find their vengeance. They beat PGG in the rematch.
And look at that Renekton damage, 0 damage to close out that team fight, but it doesn't matter at all. That man on your screen there, having an absolute pop-off performance. And Kevi again showing his Evelyn was permabanned for a reason.
Certainly was, and I feel like we're going to go back to that state of affairs where it will not be able to be played. It's a little bit too strong, There were moments where it looked so good for so many different reasons, and well, by the end of it, too much mobility, too much frustration, too much ability to be invisible and you know, sneak a lot of those kills. I mean, I just look at Praetor, for instance, in that final play, right, where they get the Quadra, recalling on the turret. He feel like he's safe, but it's just not the case.
Yeah, Order really never let PGG off the hook, right? You thought a fight had ended from the side of PGG. They get their engage off, but Puma's saying, no, we're absolutely not done. I'm going to jump over these walls. I'm going to stun you. I'm going to slow you. And I'm just going to run you down. So I think a really, really consistent game from both Puma and Kevi. I wish we could give dual MVPs because they played so well.
They certainly did, Mac. I mean, what a game. I mean, honestly, it gave you everything you'd want. Excitement, fights upon mechanic checks.
That's it, right? And look, Max, I need to say, I think Rusty's going to be your best friend after this because you've helped him with that rebound mechanic. You've got the prediction right. And he can maybe catch up to Skimmy and Kitty. But look, this game just had it all. It was like a 33-minute thriller or something like that. Just so much action, so much team fights. It was about 50 kills all up too. So much going on. And look, you're talking about Puma a lot. He had so much presence all throughout the game, his positioning key, and apparently he had 161 seconds of uptime on that lethal tempo.
Whoa.
So thank you for the stats man for that, which has to be like the highest we've seen so far this split in the LCO on any of the Zeries or on bloody any champ. Just always in it, always fighting, and the move speed just being such a nuisance. So this was the masterclass of how to play Zeri, but also don't let Kevi play on that Evelyn. You know, Kevelyn was just way too strong. We were getting pumped for it, and you can tell exactly why.
Whoa.
Look at that. It was a battle for the total damage dealt. That's insane, Skimmy.
I mean, it really is, right? Given that we've seen PGG fight for who can get the most kills between their jungler and AD carry, Order said, we'll do you one better, and we'll show you how to really find yourself in a spot of bother. What a game. I mean, really from start to finish, you're looking at Zeri, Puma, really bully from the laning phase into those team fights, knew what his job was. You can't touch me. And if the death stance isn't the final icing on the cake, then what a game as a whole. I mean, sublime.
It seemed to all come down to like positioning in those team fights really, because you're looking at the gold diff, it's only like 5k, they're almost 6, but at the same time, that's what, like an item or two, the difference. And then so many of those team fights, you saw Pentanet doing all the right things. It's just Order was split up enough to not get smacked by the Diana ult, never getting CC'd when you thought they would be, and it just seemed like maybe there was a little bit of tension coming through from PGG, and I'd love to have a chat with them to figure out what went wrong. But the question is, you know, what went right for Order? It was almost everything, you know?
Yeah, there was certainly a bit of a rough early game there with PGG capitalizing on the fact that, you know, Evelyn is a weak champion in the early stages of the game. But I think Kevi sort of came out of nowhere with that insane KDA, right? Yeah. He was just always doing the right things in fights, you know, fighting those picks, fighting those engages. And I think one of the unsung heroes of this game was actually Corporal. He found some really good engages on that Rakan, you know, pairing up with Kevi on the Evelyn to essentially one-shot someone before every single fight started. So shout out to essentially everyone on Order. Played a really, really solid game. Besides Kisei not ulting like 3 times, a very clinical game from the side of Order.
And look, they're all cold as ice in those player cams as well. At the end, no celebrations. They're just on to the next one, on to next week, getting ready for it. Someone else that's always cold as ice is Kitty. So let's bring her back into the conversation. Who do you have for the winner's interview?
Well, I do have someone for the interview, but I got a prediction wrong, so I'm very sad. But
no.
Someone who isn't sad is Kevi, so let's bring him in for the interview. Hi Kevi, how does it feel being the best Evelyn player in LCO?
Feels alright, I guess. I mean, I'm also the only Evelyn player in LCO, you know, so best by default.
You have to be good at Evelyn to be able to pull her out, you know. But let's talk about how you contributed in that game. You actually had 23 kills out of the 27 in total, while you were still being pressured in the early game by a lot of the Leona roams. you still managed to pull out. How did you actually play out the fights? Well, as Evelyn,
Honestly,
yeah.
like, honestly, the game felt like so doomed. Like every lane is getting pushed in. I'm like getting contested on every single camp. I think the game just came down to like playing fights really well. Like we had really good target selection and positioning for the most part. I think because I didn't press ult a few times, but I'll just put my charm on the Aatrox. You know, we'll just let them dive into us, play front to back, and we'll just win.
Kisei definitely didn't press ult in some of the very important fights, but that's okay, you know. I'll help him press ult, it's not that hard. But talking about that game, you guys, when did you think the game was won, and from which fight?
Honestly, when I flashed on Aphelios mid and ulted to kill like 2 or 3 people, the game felt pretty won. But like as soon as we get Baron, the game is pretty much over. Like we have so much side lane threat, like they can't really kill Trind or Renekton if we have hands, so yeah.
I mean, guys definitely do have hands because you grabbed a win away from PGG, and I believe that... Are you guys tied in the standings? I think so, but...
I have no idea.
That's,
I didn't even look at it.
That's it for
Probably.
the Super Week. Hopefully you get a good night's rest, and see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Look, now I'm angry, Kitty. You just reminded me that we got another tie on the bloody leaderboard. I thought we were all going to have like this nice structure at the end of the day, but there will be at least one tie, and it is order catching back up to PGG. So big congrats there. Now, Max, look, you've spoken with Kevi before, right? So you know,
Occasionally.
Has he ever gone louder than just like a low sort of, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Because he always speaks so quietly.
He does. In game, he can get pretty excited, and you're sort of reminding me, Mac, that somehow I managed to not win with Kevi and Puma on my team, which after that game looks a bit like blasphemous, to be honest, with the performances that they had. But no,
Crazy.
I think Kevi in game can, like, compared to what he shows on interview, he's a very vocal in-game leader.
Okay, well, hopefully we can get a very vocal Kevi on some more of these interviews. But look, we have a player of the game. Could have been between 2 people. There was only 2 options, but we had to pick one. And it was, of course, Puma for multiple reasons. Man was breaking records so far in the LCO. Crazy amounts of uptime. 88% KP and 36% damage share. Look at these stats, Max. Tell me about them. Tell me what they mean and why this is such a spectacular performance on the Zeri.
These are like the stats you'd expect to see from someone who's like smurfing in like an elo lower. Like having 36% of your team's damage in a competitive game is absolutely crazy. It just speaks to like how involved he was in these fights. And I think having 88% kill participation on an 80 carry really just means that you were the one carrying the fights. And we saw it there, like he was always the last one alive. He was always having that impact after the initial burst went on. And yeah, just a really textbook game from him.
I reckon between him and Kevi, that would have been about 68% of the team's damage, because you saw the graphs, he wasn't too far behind. Now, we got to get into game number 3, and to get there, of course, we've got to go to another break. So, ladies and gents, strap your bloody seatbelts, because the game you've all been waiting for is coming up just after the break.
Has been called out. Lightning Crash comes across, Puma with some uptime. Great Solar Flare and a huge heal smite. Oh, it's been stolen! What a fantastic steal from Puma. The CC is too strong so far. Fire Pepper on the flank, keeping him honest, keeping him keen. Praetor gonna find that kill, removes that Kissy again. Once again, no Undying Rage is used. The CC lane is fantastic. He's got the white and the green, he's hit the Moonlight Vigil, he's got the range from afar, he's gonna get collapsed, but a fantastic charm from Kevi. Wipes the floor with him, giving them a double kill.